Welcome back to the Warwick F1 show, and as it is the Bahrain Grand Prix in just 2 days as we're recording this, because it is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we are previewing the first race of the season and setting up our all-new prediction game. I'm, as ever, joined by Will and Chinmay, and yeah, I guess the Bahrain Grand Prix, now seemingly the regular starter for the F1 season. And I quite like that. I think it's it's probably the best. Australia was obviously.
I think they went back to Australia next year.
Oh,
well, it's in its contract. It has to do it at least twice by 2031.
well, fine, it can do it twice, but as long as we keep it in Bahrain. I mean, so Bahrain, it started the season in 2010. Yeah. Alonso taking his first win in his first race for Ferrari and setting off what did end up being a brilliant season of F1. Since then, it turned into a night event in 2014. I think arguably the best change it could have made.
Yes.
And then it has been the start of the season since 2021 now. And we had 2022. And 23 as the start of the season. Came onto the grid in 2004 and has been held every year since, except for 2011, due to the uprising as part of the Arab Spring. And I mean, what are some of our highlights of Bahrain? Obviously, mentioned there for me, 2014 is a big one. The duel in the desert between the Mercedes, I think, really setting off kind of the rivalry that Hamilton and Rosberg would have for the next 3 years, and some of the flashpoints that really began to be seen at that race.
Checo's first win.
Yeah.
Not necessarily on the same circuit we have now, but you've got George Russell sat at the side of the track crying and.
Just wanted to chat in then.
Perez basically getting his seat that he currently has.
Yeah.
As a result of it, and that was a good race. And you had like Verstappen, Leclerc, and Alonso all going out on like the first corner.
Yeah. Well, back in 2020, hold 2 races at Bahrain.
Yeah.
Checo's win at the outer ring.
Yeah.
The shortest F1 track we've had in a long time, sub-minute lap times, and then Perez, obviously taking the win after Mercedes mix-ups at the pit stops. Chinmay, what about you?
Yeah. No, I just say there's especially that memory, going back, seeing that whole thing, watching. I mean, to be fair, at that point I was rooting for Russell. I can't lie, because especially he got subbed in. He absolutely finessed Bottas on that day as well. Richie was going to win it until Mercedes decided to make their one major pit stop mistake of the year.
Wasn't it 2 of them?
Well, there was.
Well, he
had a puncture as well.
Yeah, the first one was the wrong tyres, and the second time he had a puncture.
I'm still not convinced he would have won that race if he not had his puncture.
No.
He was closing, but not especially quickly.
No. There was also a really big event that happened that same day in the previous race, which was Romain Grosjean's very big accident. Yeah,
obviously Grosjean clipping Kvyat and then heading into the tyre barriers. I mean, easily, I think, the most shocking crash that we've seen on the broadcast. Obviously, 2014 with tragic loss of Jules Bianchi wasn't shown at the time. But the start of the race and kind of just seeing the car spear off and through the barrier, huge explosion of flame, and then the kind of
radio silence.
Yeah, radio silence, but then just seeing him kind of get out the car, so I'm trying to think of the word, just so heroically. It's like not reassuring, but it was just
like he felt that the safety had
relieving. That's the one. But an incredible work done there from the safety of modern F1, obviously with the halo. The work to get him out the car, Alan van der Merwe and his medical team kind of getting him out of the car as soon as possible, and thankfully Grosjean managed to walk away without too many bad injuries and is still racing. He's in IndyCar now.
Holland,
yeah. Ferrari, I think, have had some history at Bahrain, especially Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, good and bad.
Yeah, won in 2022. Good battle with
great race.
Verstappen. Just remind me what happened in 2019 and 2023.
He was in a podium place in 2023 in third, and then his engine died. And then, well, actually, I think it was the electronics. Actually, it was like the ECU or something.
Yeah.
And then 2019, he was leading.
Yeah, could have won that race.
And then had engine issues. It would have been his first win for Ferrari.
Yeah.
And then he came third.
Yeah, and I mean, Lewis Hamilton for me was 5-time winner at the track. Didn't win there since before 2014, surprisingly.
And hasn't won there since
2021.
Yeah.
What a win that was. I think that 2021 race, I've always said it, in that how it kind of set up what the season would become has always kind of elevated it for me as one of the best races. But Bahrain, I don't think it's ever, especially since it's become a night race, I don't think it's ever had a race that hasn't been at least somewhat
exciting,
entertaining.
Yeah.
Perhaps it being at the start of the season helps, but yeah, one will be going to until 2026. So see it on the calendar for a few more years. Realistically, longer than that. I think it's a race that everyone kind of wants to see.
Yeah.
It's a relatively new one, Tilke creation, but I don't think there's ever been any, or at least very much since it became a night race. I don't think it's been.
I think people have kind of said they might like the short circuit again at some point.
That would be cool.
That'd be good. Maybe alternate it.
Oval style.
Maybe get rid of Abu Dhabi and have a second bar race.
Anything but Abu Dhabi for me.
Yeah.
Right. So it is now time for arguably the biggest thing we ever do on these shows, and that is our predictions.
Yes.
So I took a quite astounding victory last year.
Yes.
Definitely not carried by 2 races that I knocked out the park. Well, was it? It was Brazil and Vegas were just swing.
You were also aided by Chinmay getting a 0.
Yes.
That was incredibly impressive. It wasn't just a 0. It was the fact you had the first choice.
Yeah. Yes.
And didn't pick Verstappen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's just it was a moment of silence on that decision.
No, because I can't remember.
Not a moment of silence.
I can't remember when.
I want to say it was it.
I thought it was Brazil. Because it was the same week you basically had a perfect.
No,
weekend.
I think. Yeah, it might have been.
Because I think your thought process was that Mercedes or McLaren will be good here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Red Bull have struggled a little bit.
Yeah, and Mercedes were awful at Brazil. It's probably one of their worst races of the season.
If not the worst.
Right.
Yeah.
But we've got a third contender entering the ranks. Will Biddles is taking us on.
Yeah. And
it is now a 3-way fight for the win.
Yep.
And the lack of prize that we give
threat.
out. Triple threat, triple crown. So, obviously, we used to do a snake.
We can't really.
That's not really possible with 3 people because we'd end up with 9 potential podium contenders.
Weekly podium appearance.
So we are changing the rules a little bit. The 1, 2, and 3 point predictions staying as they are because I think they always seem pretty fun, and we've got to be even more variety now. Now there's 3 of us, but we are going to snake P1, so we can't all have the same first place, otherwise we just put Verstappen in there for the entire season.
Yes.
So.
But we can use those people for seconds.
Yes. So we snake P1. So let's say this week we'll go first. Then Chinmay will go second. I'll go third. Next week, Chinmay first. I'll go second, and so on and so forth. But we will be doing now second, and we will be going down to 5th. You can take anyone. So. We can all put, I don't know, Hamilton second, or one of us can put him third, or something like that. Just gives more freedom, but down to 5th, there are now more points up for grabs. And yeah, it's the start of the season, so we've got literally 0 reference on who's going to be good. And Will, as I did say, you are now starting us off on your entrance to the competition. Who are you taking for P1?
I'm not going to do a Chinmay. I'm going to make the most of this. I'm going to take Max Verstappen P1 as my prediction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, do you want to explain it, or just fairly self-explanatory?
Like, we don't really know anyone's kind of progress at the moment. We kind of can see the Red Bull still slightly ahead. Max has done well around this track in the last few years. As long as reliability's okay, I can't see any issues. This is when there's a last lap DNF. And
well, like it was 22 with Perez, wasn't it? 2 laps to go.
Well, Perez was the last lap, and Verstappen was like 4 laps to or something. I think. 'Cause he just started the last lap, I think, Perez.
Yes. I think it was something like that.
It was similar, but yeah. So I'm going to go with a cheeky Max Verstappen.
All right. Chinmay. We'll do P1s first, then we'll go 2, 3, 4, and 5.
I think I'll take Charles Leclerc for first then.
Oh, you've taken my first place.
You think Mercedes is the second best anyway? I don't know what you're
I'm going to be honest. My top 5 doesn't have any Mercedes drivers in
Oh
it.
dear.
They will now. Right, so why Leclerc?
I mean, considering, Ferrari have historically been good at Bahrain, Leclerc generally is until he has his cursed power unit issues. So I'm banking on it not happening, and and mainly because Biddles took Max Verstappen.
I was tempted though.
Yeah.
What, to take Leclerc?
Yeah.
You can't be giving away.
Not on my first go.
Right, so you've taken Verstappen, you've taken Leclerc. I will go Lewis Hamilton then, as a bit of it's very much. I hope he does well, but Mercedes. I mean, we mentioned it when we were talking about testing Mercedes and Ferrari looking good, and just kind of hoping that maybe Hamilton will push on. And I think in his final season for Mercedes, if that car is good and at least can compete for wins, he'll be pushing the most out of it. And if it's near that Red Bull and near that Ferrari, I'm hoping that he'll come out on top. Or I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But that's the point.
That's the fun.
Yeah. Right. We'll do 2. We'll just do 2 to 5 now. So, Will, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Leclerc second, and then like you said, Chinmay, Ferrari have done well around here lately, and only if Sainz third.
Ooh.
Like, he seems more confident this year. He kind of has a point to prove. He's got that kind of fire in his belly. He looked right around testing as well. So go Sainz third, Perez fourth, and I'm going to say Hamilton fifth.
Okay. Great. Where you
So,
going for?
second place, difficult choice for Max Verstappen. Mainly because I'm expecting him to set off with a bang. But yeah, let's see how it goes. Third place, I want to go Sergio Perez. I'm going to bank on him because, especially it's a fairly new concept on the RB19. Was it RB20?
20. I don't know.
Let's go.
I think it's the 20. That's a very good point.
I think it's 20.
I think it's the RB20. I think it's the RB20. And thing is, so relatively new concept, especially because Red Bull have basically stolen the early you can saw the W14A spec, and obviously, so I'm expecting the car to be a little bit more balanced, more for Checker's taste, and then as basically the tradition wears on, as the later the season goes, the car becomes more front heavy, a lot more sensitive. Checker starts to struggle, drops off in pace, and obviously Max flies into the distance. So for now, I'm thinking Checker third. Fourth place, I'll probably go for a slightly wild card. Actually, my wild card will be fifth place, but fourth place will be Lewis Hamilton.
Ooh.
It's going to be Fernando Alonso.
Okay.
McLaren aren't looking confident in Bahrain, so and they're generally quite cursed at this track, so I'm not going to put them on.
Watch them win now.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I'll be happy with that.
Yeah. Okay, so I've been thinking about this over the last minute, and there's actually quite a bit of strategy now, because obviously we're still keeping the 1 point for if they're in the top 5, and then the 3 points if you get it right.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, do you want to push for a 3 or bank a 1?
Yeah, so you could just whack us up in fifth.
Yeah, like you can work with Verstappen.
But Verstappen could also lose out to Leclerc again.
So I've still gone for Verstappen second because if he's not first, he'll be second.
Yeah.
Realistically, first, second, DNF. These are the only three positions that Verstappen finishes in these days. But this is where I've started to think about it, and that is rare for me. I've gone for Charles Leclerc third. I think if the Red Bull does run away with it, and it is a Verstappen Perez 1-2, Leclerc is the most likely driver to come third. And then I've gone Lando Norris fourth, so I'm the only one that's got Norris in the top five. I think potential fourth. I think the McLaren, we don't know how kind of good it's looking. Quietly confident, I think, as opposed to maybe more expressively confident. And if he was going to come fourth, I think that would be the place if he was going to finish anywhere, that would be the place he'd be if he was in the top five. And then I've gone for Alonso fifth. So along with Chinmay, gone Alonso. You'll notice that doesn't mean I've gone for Perez, simply because
I'm also the only one that backed Sainz.
So yeah, there's strategy here.
There is.
There's stuff to think about. We can't do that.
No.
We're not very intelligent people. So as ever, as we said, 1 point if you get them in the top five but not in the right position, and 3 points if you nail it bang on. Right. That is obviously not the only thing that we do. It is now time for our 1, 2, and 3 point predictions. So if you don't know, we do 1 point prediction, something that's more likely to happen, could go, or like basically anything throughout the weekend that could happen. Could be on the track, could be off the track, could be chaotic, could be expected. 1 point, something that's more likely to happen. 2 points, something that's a bit less likely, and then 3 points, something very unlikely, but obviously if it does come true, you get the most reward for it. So, Will, what are your 1, 2, and 3 point predictions?
My 1 point is that there will be a VSC or safety car throughout the race.
Okay.
Typically we get one in Bahrain.
Yeah. Also, we do adjudge whether these are 1 point worthy. Chinmay? I feel like that's 1 point worthy.
Very 1 point
Very
worthy.
1 point worthy.
Okay. My 2 point. This may be not quite 2 point enough. I'm going to go 4 or more DNFs.
Ooh.
They were quite reliable at the end of last year.
Thinking of Bahrain, I'd say 4 is... 4 or more.
Yeah.
So 4 plus.
Yeah.
I can make it
that's
5
fair.
plus if you'd like.
No, 4 plus seems fine.
Okay.
With start of the season, we're willing to be lenient. It's when
Yes.
you're 10 points ahead that we'll start getting stricter.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then my 3 point is kind of off of that, is that there will be a crash on the first lap, causing a DNF.
First lap carnage.
There'll be a first lap DNF.
Oh no, that's not 3 points.
No, that's
First sector DNF.
first corner.
Yeah, first corner. Gonna have
But
to.
it's like the third corner where they always go off.
First, I'll do first section. So before turn 4. I'll say before turn 4.
Okay, fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Turn 4 is the one after.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the
DNF before turn 4.
Yeah.
I'll allow that.
Okay, because that's very specific.
Yes.
That feels fair.
So for me, I'm thinking. I'm thinking at least top 6. 6 at least 6 teams in Q3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait.
Lance Stroll's going to bottle it. Let someone else.
Yeah. So 6 teams. Yeah. So at least 6 teams in Q3. My 2 pointer probably going to be. It's going to be a two drivers. At least 2 drivers do 3 stops in the race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as McLaren don't have that fuel issue.
Yeah. And I'm thinking 4 Red Bulls in the top 10 from a 3.0.
What do you mean? They're RBs. They're not Red Bulls.
Yeah.
No, as in the 4 Red Bull branded cars.
The 4 Red Bull sister teams. Definitely independent.
So 4 Honda engines in the.
Yeah.
Powered by Honda still.
Yeah.
Well, it's Red Bull powertrains, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's still Honda.
4. We know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what you mean.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
That implies one of the top 5 teams doesn't
Yeah.
have either driver.
I'm
Yeah.
perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
Right. I have gone. This is I'd say more than a 1 point, but I'm willing to go for it. 3 different teams on the podium.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably a bit ambitious, but
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Red Bull's not far enough ahead at the moment.
Yeah. Then I've gone, and this is where I've lost hope. Verstappen wins by 20 plus seconds.
Okay. Is that not your 1 point?
No, not yet. That's when we're like
That's 2
5
weeks.
races in.
That's for Australia.
Yeah, so that's my banking on this season turning terrible. And then my 3 point, I've gone 8 plus teams. No, I'm changing it 7 plus teams in the top 10.
Get points.
Yeah, to get points.
Cool.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
That works.
I was going to do 8, then I realised that would involve
Basically,
one of
one team.
Williams, Alpine, and Haas scoring a point.
It would basically mean that only one of the top teams gets both drivers.
Yeah,
Or 2, sorry.
yeah. But if your one comes true, my one's looking better.
Yeah, maybe all of mine come true. Well, maybe they all come true. What happens then?
So how many points? So the maximum number of points now is
21?
21. Let's say perfect weekend, you score 25.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would read through everything, but there's a lot of stuff. I mean, we'll all go through it. So, well, what have you gone for overall?
I can't even remember. So I've got Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz, Perez, Hamilton as my top 5. My 1 point is a VSC or safety car in the race at some point. 4 or more DNFs, and there will be a DNF by turn 4.
Okay, Chinmay?
Yeah. Mine, I predicted Leclerc, Verstappen, Perez, Hamilton, Alonso. At least 6 teams will be in Q3. At least 2 drivers have 3 pit stops in the race. For a 2-pointer, my 3-pointer is all 4 Red Bull branded cars on the points.
Okay, and then I've gone for my top 5: Hamilton, Verstappen, Leclerc, Norris, and Alonso. My 1-pointer is 3 different teams on the podium. 2 points, Verstappen wins by 20 or more seconds. And my 3-pointer are 7 or more teams score points, so finish in the top 10. And yeah, that is it.
Nice.
2 days away as we're recording this. The race is on a Sunday, if anyone listening to
not.
the Sunday. No, it's on a Saturday, I meant that. Yep, Saturday at 3 o'clock British time. So if we do have any international listeners, first off, welcome. Second off, just adjust it to obviously your time zone. But the big thing is, it's on a Saturday, not a Sunday this time, as the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix will be next week. Anything you guys want to add?
No.
Just excited to get back to it.
I am really
Finally.
excited. And then we'll come back next week. Verstappen's won by half a minute and
We're still excited.
a little bit less excited.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. So, as ever, I've been Will and joined by Will and Chinmay. And yeah, thank you for listening.